Welcome to Masters of Luxury. His work personifies the spirit and skill of artisanal techniques and the craft excellence of India. Vikram Goyal, over the last 2 decades, has redefined contemporary design language within the international collectible design market. Working with artisans across the country, Goyal designs limited edition furniture and objects by diligently reinventing techniques. His collectible works are revered by galleries, art fairs, interior designers, and craft enthusiasts and collectors in India and globally. Every piece that you have crafted is obviously by hand. Tell me a little bit about the creative process.
I'm neither an artisan or a trained designer, and we operate out of the workshop model or the karkhana model. So we have a team of artisans, designers, production engineers. There's a whole bunch of people working at it. Every time there's an idea, we have some initial sketches, and in our workshop we make maquettes or samples. So we do endless rounds of sampling before we find something which is ready to go, and then we get the formalized drawings and proceed with it.
What is the thought process? So are these artworks usually commissioned, or some of them just come from you as a creative genius?
All designs come from us, and the customization happens only if someone wants to change the sizes or the uses of what we've created. So if we've made something into a screen and someone wants it for a wall panel, then we'll customize it. But all the ideation happens and all the product development happens with us at the studio.
So when it comes to ideation in specific, what is the most inspiring for you?
I've had a whole range of inspirations, from chinoiserie to nature to abstract forms. There's been a whole bunch of references I've looked at to feed into our work.
And what has been your most challenging work till date?
The most challenging work to date has been the Soul Garden, a project I did last summer and we showed at Design Miami, Paris, in the gardens of Karl Lagerfeld's old house. It was an installation where we drew upon India's vast reservoir of culture and literature, where animals were revered as spiritual beings. And we drew upon this whole idea of, in Indian philosophy, where animals are considered sacred and are part of fables such as the Panchatantra, where the animals were characters. So we created these animals, each of which has a special significance in Indian cultural history. We had the elephant, the tortoise, the tiger, the crocodile, or the makara. And each of these objects had a secret compartment where the Panchatantra fable was illustrated in our Repuse language. Then we also had a smell scientist who infused the background with smells of how the animals were made, in terms of the smell of metal, burning metal, the habitat of the animals. So my whole idea was to bring together this collaboration where the world could see the animals not just for their sculpture, but as carriers of this ancient wisdom, really a cross-section between nature, craft, and spirituality. And this work took me out of my comfort zone, bringing all these. It was the first time I started working with animals, and it was quite challenging, but I'm very happy with the outcome of it.
You transitioned from engineering to finance to now art. How did that happen? What is the story behind it?
I've always been interested in the visual cultures of India. So I did engineering, I studied economics, I worked with Morgan Stanley in New York, and I came back to India and co-founded Kama Ayurveda with the idea of taking the essence of Ayurveda into the contemporary world. And then I started working with craft and design. And today we have Vikram Goyal Studio, which focuses mostly on metalwork. And we just launched Viya, which is a lifestyle brand, where we are working with a variety of other artisanal crafts.
Takes me to my next question, of course. The story behind Viya and choosing Trafford House to kind of host it. Tell me a bit about that.
Viya is a lifestyle brand which is rooted in I'd say 3 legs. Everything is made in India, handmade in India, and it's artisanal. Every product has an Indian story to tell, whether it's a myth, fable, monument, color, bird or animal, anything associated with India. And third is the design is India agnostic. We didn't want it to be ethnic. So we wanted a modern lifestyle brand rooted in India, and we cover the gamut from home decor, accessories, soft furnishings, carpets, and now apparel. And I wanted to take design out of what we had with the studio, which is in the so-called collectible design space, and make it craft and design more accessible. So that's why we launched Viya. And we chose Trafford House. I couldn't have found a better place than Trafford House, an old heritage building, which lent itself beautifully to our collection, which is contemporary in design but rooted in the past in terms of the craft and the storytelling.
What made you drift towards a metal like brass? Is there any specific reason? Tell me a little bit about your starting.
When I started, I've always wanted to create and work with craft in India. And when I started this venture, I had a list of 6 master craftsmen who had worked with the Festival of India. And there was someone who made puppets, there was someone who did embroidery, and finally I stumbled on Ramesh ji, who did metal work in his garage. And I just loved the idea of brass because I could see phenomenal possibilities of sculpture. I liked the color, the sheen, and over time I've realized just how versatile it is as a material. You can make these wonderful 3-dimensional objects out of it, which you can't do in any other metal. So I think sometimes you just know instinctively when something works for you.
And this was way back in early 2000s.
Yeah, way back around.
You know, you have roots in Rajasthan. I think somehow, somewhere, every creative person just has a little bit of touch with Rajasthan. Which part of Rajasthan? I think your maternal side is from Rajasthan.
So my maternal side of the family is from Rajasthan. And I spent most of my childhood, when not in Delhi, I grew up in Delhi, when not in Delhi, spending time in Rajasthan and traveling around Rajasthan. And both Delhi and Rajasthan have this, they have this sense of grandeur of palaces, forts, paintings, sculpture, and
Mughal influence as well.
Mughal influence as well. And that clearly played a large role in terms of what I perceive as art. So I kind of like to think of larger than life. Scale to me is important. The scale of it is large, but it could be put into a minimalist environment as well. So I don't think about the environment it's going to when I create a product. But growing up in Rajasthan and Delhi played a role in terms of what I view as relevant to my work. Is that basically it's the work I veer towards large scale and glamour statement pieces, which comes from this upbringing, exposure.
You've kind of obviously worked with artisans from across the country. You work with different techniques. If I had to ask you, as a layman, some of your most treasured interactions or engagements with artisans across the country?
I would say the biggest intervention we've made and which I've enjoyed is in the world of repousse, which originated in Benares and mostly as surface decoration. And you had a lot of people now move from Benares to Delhi. So our studio has a special arm focusing solely on repousse, where I'm able to bring to life any of the visual cultures I've enjoyed, from chinoiserie to Indian miniature paintings to pitchwise to abstract other sorts of artworks. The beauty about repousse is that you're chiseling away into the sheets of metal from the reverse, laid on a bed of wax. And it requires an extraordinary amount of artistic intelligence, material intelligence, and you only know what you've really created 6 to 8 weeks once, and you pick up the sheet of metal and see what you've done. So it's quite remarkable.
That must be challenging as well, right?
It is challenging.
You don't know what to
but you have some idea, but you don't know exactly what you've done. So that really has been the most rewarding part of our practice.
And how many artisans, if I had to ask you, in terms of craftsmen,
So-
where are your craftsmen from?
All of our craftspeople are from North India, where there's a history of working with metalworks, with sheet metal. Most metal studios around the world work with cast metal, whether either sand casting or wax casting. We work with sheet metal, and the expertise has mostly been around Banaras and North India.
If there's one of the things that especially in the art space and in the creative space in general, global recognition becomes a thing. How important is that to you personally, Vikram?
It's very important for me to participate at a global platform where I am showing my work alongside the world's best. So we've been fortunate enough to work with one of the world's leading design galleries, Nilufar in Milan, and partnered with them to showcase at Milan Design Week, at PAD London, and I've worked with other galleries to showcase at Design Miami Paris. So it's very important for me to showcase the best of India alongside the best of design from all over the world.
If there's one thing you'd like to change in the way Indian art and design space operates today in the country, what would it be, having done this for 20 years?
I'd say the Indian design is still nascent, but is gaining a lot of traction. And one area where we might accelerate that traction is if we had more galleries representing designers, such as you have in the art world. So I would imagine that
so you're saying design galleries is what we miss in
design
India.
galleries, just to facilitate, give direction to the designers and be more of a corridor between clients and designers.
It's very interesting when you say that, the design
Because you have
art galleries.
Well, I have worked with a design gallery in Milan. There's just no design galleries in India.
Who are the artists who have inspired you truly?
I've been greatly inspired by the animaliers of the early 20th century, Francois Xavier Lalande, Bugatti, the work of Paul Evans and his brutalist work, and he was an American designer, has greatly inspired my own brutalist work. Then the mid-century geniuses such as Gio Ponti, Scarpa, Frank Lloyd Wright, there are many.
If I had to ask you that, of course you work with clientele globally, you work with a solid clientele here, what has been your most fulfilling project till date? I mean, you've spoken about what has been the most challenging.
It's also been my most fulfilling, the Soul Garden.
So that's the latest one that...
It's the latest one, and it's what's inspired me the most. It took me out of my comfort zone, and the reaction has been stupendous.
Why animals? Why did you choose animals? Is there a reason?
The animals are really difficult to pull off.
In brass?
In anything. Animal sculpture is really difficult to pull off, which is why you don't see many designers working with animals, I guess. It's very difficult to pull off. And India has a big history, a big tradition of animal sculpture. And I've been a big fan of all of that. But animal sculpture is difficult to pull off. And to me, I've always been obsessed with elephants as a child. I've been a patron of the elephant family, and I've done many craft-oriented projects for the elephant family. I just decided it was time to start something completely different and fresh, and animals.
What's your focus? What are you focusing on now? What's your next big thing from Vikram Goyal?
I'm spending all my time on Viya. We've gone from hard goods to soft goods to now carpets, apparel now. So, and in India the list is endless because there's so many different crafts we work with. So we don't know what's next.
So Vikram, other than design, what are the other exciting projects that are on the anvil?
I published a book called The Shringara of Srinathji on the family's collection of Srinathji miniature paintings. The Nathdwara temple in Udaipur has the Srinathji deity, and my mother's ancestor was a great patron of that. And in gratitude, they gave him his collection of miniature paintings. Mostly you see them as pitchwise, but these are paintings.
What is your idea of luxury?
Ability to change people's lives, to have the resources, financial and otherwise, to be able to change lives by inspiring them and giving them employment in a meaningful way, to revive some of the things we've been trying to do, and to bring objects which bring people joy, and beyond joy, a sense of pride in what we are all about, the country is all about, our heritage is all about. That's for me very inspiring, and I'm lucky to be able to do that.
If there is one thing that Vikram Goyal truly misses, what is it?
Good sleep.